My brothers and sisters, one of the most striking and powerful moments in the Qur'an is when Allah describes the punishment of hell and tells us that it is guarded by 19 angels. The mention of this number may seem unusual at first glance. Why not simply say many angels or powerful angels? Why mention 19? What is the wisdom behind Allah giving us this exact detail? Today, let us reflect deeply on this question and explore the lessons hidden within it. When Allah tells us about the 19 angels guarding hell, He is not merely giving us a number for information's sake. He is giving us a sign, a reminder, and a test of faith. The Qur'an is not a book of random details. Every word, every phrase, every number has meaning and wisdom. This particular mention of 19 carries powerful lessons for believers, for disbelievers, and for all of humanity until the end of time. First, let us remind ourselves who these 19 are. They are not ordinary beings. They are angels created by Allah, and angels never disobey the command of their Lord. Their role is to guard the gates of hell and carry out Allah's justice upon those who have chosen to reject Him. These angels are described as stern, harsh, and powerful beyond imagination. No human, no jinn, no force in existence can resist them or escape their grip. Their strength is not like ours, limited and fragile. It is absolute in carrying out the command of the Creator. Now think for a moment. If the Qur'an had said that hell is guarded by thousands upon thousands of angels, people might dismiss it by saying, of course, it takes many angels to guard such a place. But Allah mentioned a very specific and relatively small number, 19. Just 19. This detail was enough to shake the arrogant hearts of the Quraysh when they first heard it. Some of them mocked and said, "We can fight 19." Others laughed and said, "If each of us gathers against one angel, we can overpower them." But these were the words of arrogance and ignorance. They had no understanding of the nature of angels, nor the power of Allah behind them. This is part of the wisdom. Allah intentionally mentioned a number that appears small, so that those with arrogance in their hearts would mock it and expose themselves. Their mockery would show the difference between those who take the Qur'an seriously and those who take it as a joke. It was a test for the disbelievers of Quraysh, and it remains a test for humanity today. Some people approach the Qur'an with humility and reflection, while others approach it with arrogance and mockery. The number 19 separates these two groups, but for the believer, the number 19 is not a point of ridicule. It is a point of reflection. Why? Because Allah tells us that He mentions it to strengthen the faith of the believers. When we hear of 19 angels guarding hell, we are reminded of the unseen world and the power of Allah's creation. We are reminded that the punishment of hell is real, that it is guarded, and that no one can escape it. It makes us reflect on the seriousness of rejecting guidance and turning away from truth. We should also reflect on the nature of numbers in the Qur'an. Allah does not fill His book with useless statistics or irrelevant figures. Every number carries meaning. 19 is a number that has caused deep reflection among scholars for centuries. Some have connected it to the structure of the Qur'an itself, noting the mathematical patterns built around it. Others have reflected on its symbolic role as a reminder of precision, order, and divine wisdom. While we should not get lost in speculation or strange numerology, we can still appreciate that this number has a purpose and that Allah mentioned it with intention. Another point to consider is the psychology of fear and respect. If you hear that hell is guarded by thousands of angels, the number feels overwhelming but distant. If you hear it is guarded by just 19, the detail feels sharp, direct, and personal. You begin to imagine them, you begin to visualize their stern faces, their unshakable strength, their terrifying presence. The number makes it real. It makes you pause and think, just 19 angels, and they can control the entirety of hell. What kind of strength must they possess? What kind of majesty must Allah have that even a small group of His servants can carry out such a task? And then comes another wisdom, to remind us that numbers do not define strength. We human beings are obsessed with numbers. We count wealth, we count soldiers, we count possessions. We assume that bigger numbers always mean greater power. But Allah shows us here that a small number, if supported by Him, is mightier than all of humanity combined. Just 19 angels, and every arrogant disbeliever who ever lived will be thrown into hell by their hands. This teaches us that true power is not in numbers but in the command of Allah. Reflect also on the mercy hidden within this warning. Why does Allah describe hell in such detail? Why does He tell us about its guards, its punishment, its horrors? It is not because He wants us to despair. It is because He wants us to wake up before it is too late. He wants us to take guidance seriously, to repent sincerely, and to prepare for the day when those gates are opened. Mentioning the number 19 is part of this wake-up call. It is a sharp, unforgettable detail that lingers in the mind, reminding us that hell is not a metaphor, not a story, but a real place guarded by real angels. Now imagine, my brothers and sisters, standing on the day of judgment. The gates of hell are opened, and you see those 19 angels standing in their terrifying strength. At that moment, no one will mock, no one will laugh, no one will claim they can resist. The sight alone will be enough to crush arrogance and fill hearts with regret. This is why Allah tells us now, so that we may humble ourselves before that day comes. For the believer, the mention of 19 brings humility and fear, but also strength. It reminds us that Allah's creation is vast, that His plan is perfect, and that nothing happens without purpose. It strengthens our conviction that the Qur'an is true, that every detail matters, and that we are called to reflect deeply rather than dismiss what we do not immediately understand. So why did Allah mention the number 19? To test the arrogant, to strengthen the faithful, to remind us of the reality of the unseen, and to wake us up from heedlessness, to show us that power lies not in numbers but in His command, to give us a detail so sharp and striking that it cannot be forgotten, so that we may carry its lesson with us throughout our lives. My brothers and sisters, let us not take this lightly. Every time we read about the 19 angels of hell, let us remember that the Qur'an is guiding us, warning us, and calling us to action. Let us strive to be among those who hear these words and increase in faith, not among those who hear them and turn away with mockery. Let us purify our hearts, earn our wealth honestly, treat others with kindness, and worship Allah with sincerity, so that when the day of judgment comes, we are not standing on the wrong side of those gates. May Allah protect us from the fire, grant us refuge with Him, and make us among those whose hearts are softened and strengthened by every verse of His perfect book. The mention of the 19 angels of hell is one of the most profound reminders in the Qur'an, and it has been placed there not as a random number, but as a sign that carries wisdom, depth, and purpose. When Allah tells us about the guardians of hell, He describes them as 19, and this number has shaken the hearts of people since it was revealed. Some mocked it, some doubted it, while the believers found in it an increase of certainty. It is a reminder that every single word of the Qur'an has meaning, and every number, every description, carries with it lessons that we cannot afford to ignore. The number 19 is not there to amuse or entertain, it is there to warn, to awaken, and to break the pride of those who think they will never be held accountable. The disbelievers at the time of revelation ridiculed it, asking how 19 could guard hell. They underestimated what it meant. These are not ordinary beings, they are angels created by Allah with immense strength and power beyond human comprehension. If just one angel has the ability to destroy nations, then what about 19 assigned to guard the gates of punishment? Their number is not about weakness, it is about precision, order, and discipline. Allah mentions them to show that the system of the hereafter is not chaotic but perfectly designed. This number also tests the sincerity of hearts. For those who mock, it becomes a cause of confusion. For those who seek guidance, it becomes a sign of faith. The Qur'an tells us that the mention of 19 was made so that the people of the book would be certain the believers would increase in faith, and those with disease in their hearts would stumble. This shows us that the same verse can elevate some and humiliate others depending on the state of their hearts. The believer reflects and understands that Allah's wisdom is greater than human reasoning. The arrogant, however, finds excuses to doubt. Think about the angels themselves. These 19 are not beings of weakness. They are not like humans who get tired or distracted. They are created for a task, and they never disobey their Lord. Their presence reminds us of the seriousness of hell itself. It is not a place of myth or imagination, but a reality so severe that angels of unimaginable strength are placed as its guardians. Each one of them represents might, justice, and the certainty of Allah's decree. It is meant to remind us that no one can escape. No bribes, no tricks, no power will benefit anyone on that day. The angels do not show mercy to the people of hell. Their duty is to guard and to punish as Allah has commanded. The mention of the 19 also humbles the human mind. We often think in numbers, logic, and calculations, but Allah shows us that a single number can carry meanings beyond our understanding. Some scholars even noted how the number 19 appears in patterns within the Qur'an itself as a hidden reminder of divine order. But even without delving into calculations, the main point remains: Allah chose to mention 19 for a reason, and that reason is to wake us up from heedlessness. For the believer, this should be a call to reflection. If these 19 angels guard the punishment of hell with such severity, then how serious should we be in avoiding sins that lead there? If Allah chose to highlight this number, then it is not something small. It is a warning that hell is real, guarded, and prepared for those who turn away. The believer does not laugh at it or mock it. The believer trembles, prays for protection, and asks Allah to make them of those who are saved. There is also wisdom in the reaction of the disbelievers at the time of revelation. When they heard the number 19, some of them mocked and said that they could overcome them. Others doubted and dismissed the Qur'an. But Allah revealed that this very reaction was part of the test. The Qur'an exposes the arrogance of the human being. Instead of humbling themselves, they challenged what they could not understand. This shows us that faith is not about having all the answers, but about trusting that Allah's words are true, whether or not we fully grasp the reasoning behind them. The number 19 is also a reminder of discipline and order in the unseen world. Just as every part of creation follows a precise system, so too does the hereafter. Nothing is left to chance. The guardians of hell are exactly 19, no more and no less, because Allah has willed it. This should remind us that even our lives are part of a precise system. Every breath, every provision, every test is measured. Just as the punishment of hell is guarded with precision, so is the mercy of Allah distributed with precision. The angels themselves symbolize strength and authority that humans cannot imagine. One angel can turn an entire city upside down. One angel can blow the trumpet to begin the day of judgment. One angel can bring revelation that changes history. So when Allah tells us there are 19 assigned to hell, it is not a number to underestimate. It is a number that should make us pause and realize the seriousness of the matter. The believers take from this a lesson in humility. They remember that hell is real and guarded. They know that without Allah's mercy, none of us can escape. They find in the number 19 not just fear, but also a reason to cling to hope, because the same Qur'an that warns us of these angels also tells us of Allah's forgiveness and paradise. This balance is what keeps a believer motivated, not despairing. So the next time we come across this verse, we should not think of it as a mystery we cannot solve, but as a reminder that the Qur'an is full of wisdom that goes beyond human calculation. Allah does not reveal anything without purpose. The 19 angels of hell are a sign for all of humanity, a sign that the unseen is real, that accountability is certain, and that arrogance only leads to loss. For the disbeliever, it becomes a point of mockery and a cause of stumbling. For the believer, it becomes a reason to increase in faith, to pray harder, to seek protection, and to trust that every word of Allah is truth. And perhaps the most important reflection is this: the number 19 is not about the angels alone, but about our response. Will we be like those who mock and dismiss, or will we be among those whose hearts tremble, who find in it a sign of the seriousness of the hereafter? The way we respond says everything about the state of our hearts. Allah mentioned the number 19 to teach us, to warn us, and to guide us. It is a number that carries weight, a number that breaks arrogance, and a number that increases faith. May Allah make us among those who take lessons from His words, who fear the punishment of hell, and who strive for His mercy and paradise. The 19 angels of hell represent discipline, strength, and the absolute control of Allah over His creation. They are not like us in any way. They are beings who have been created with a purpose, and they never deviate from that purpose. They do not get tired. They do not feel pity in the way humans do. They do not take breaks from their duties, and they never question the wisdom of their Lord. Their existence is a reminder of the seriousness of the hereafter, and the fact that nothing escapes the decree of Allah. When people hear about the 19 angels, some may think of it as just a number, but in reality, it is much deeper than that. This number is not chosen randomly. It is deliberately mentioned by Allah as a way to test the arrogance of disbelievers, to increase the faith of believers, and to show that everything in creation is part of a precise system designed by the Creator. Imagine for a moment how powerful even a single angel is. We know that one angel was enough to turn entire nations upside down. One angel was sent to deliver revelation to the prophets, and one angel will blow the trumpet to begin the day of judgment. If one angel carries such unimaginable strength, then what about 19 of them placed to guard the punishment of hell itself? These angels are not there to comfort or to show compassion. They are there to enforce discipline, to carry out the command of Allah without hesitation. They are a symbol of ultimate authority, reminding humanity that the hereafter is not a matter of imagination or folklore, but a reality guarded with precision. Their number, 19, represents not weakness but order. It is not about whether 19 is a large or small figure, but about the fact that Allah has chosen it. It demonstrates that everything, even the unseen, operates under divine calculation. Nothing is left to chance. The guardians of hell are exactly 19 because Allah decreed it so, and that alone should be enough for a believer to accept with humility. The human being who mocks this or questions it with arrogance shows that they have not understood the greatness of Allah. To deny or ridicule the number is to expose the sickness of the heart, because faith is not about seeing every detail with human logic. It is about trusting in the perfection of the one who knows everything. The 19 angels are also a symbol of accountability. No one will be able to overpower them, no one will be able to bribe them, and no one will be able to talk their way out of the punishment that Allah has decreed. They stand as guards at the gates of hell, ensuring that those who deserve to enter cannot escape. Their presence reminds us that the day of judgment is not negotiable. Every soul will be held accountable, every action will be measured, and every person will stand before Allah with no protector other than Him. If these angels are placed as guardians, it is to show us that hell is not a place anyone can take lightly. It is guarded, sealed, and protected by beings far beyond our comprehension. The discipline of these angels is also a lesson for us. They do not waver in their duty, they do not delay, and they do not compromise. They fulfill their command with complete loyalty. That should inspire the believer to live with discipline as well. If even the angels of hell are perfectly consistent in their role, then how much more should we, as human beings gifted with choice and guidance, strive to remain committed to what Allah has asked from us? Their unwavering obedience is a reminder that creation functions in complete submission to the Creator. The question is, will we humans, with our free will, choose to submit as well? Strength is another aspect symbolized by these 19 angels. When we think of strength, we often think in human terms like armies, weapons, or physical size, but the strength of angels is on another level entirely. These angels are not just strong in body, they are strong in carrying out justice. They cannot be deceived, they cannot be resisted, and they cannot be escaped. They embody the strength of divine command, and that is something no human being can ever challenge. This is why their number shakes the arrogant. They laugh at it because they try to measure divine matters with human weakness, but in reality, the presence of these angels is proof that Allah's authority is absolute, and beyond strength, they embody the absolute control of Allah over His creation. Nothing happens outside of His will. Hell itself is not a chaotic place. It is carefully guarded, managed, and controlled by His servants. This shows us that even in punishment, there is precision and order. It reminds us that the hereafter is not a myth, but an organized reality, where every gate has its guardian and every soul meets its destiny with justice. The 19 angels are a sign that the unseen world is under complete control, and nothing escapes the command of the Almighty. This symbol also carries an emotional impact for believers. It makes us pause and reflect on our lives. If hell is guarded so strictly, should we not do everything we can to avoid it? Should we not use our time in this world to repent, to seek forgiveness, and to strive for the mercy of Allah? These angels are not mentioned to simply scare us, but to shake us out of our heedlessness. They are there to remind us that the punishment of Allah is real, and the only way to be safe from it is to turn back to Him while we still can. So when Allah mentions the 19 angels of hell, He is reminding us of His absolute authority, His perfect system, and His complete control over everything. It is a lesson that no matter how powerful humans may feel, no matter how much wealth, influence, or status they may hold, none of it will matter against the decree of Allah. The 19 angels represent a barrier that no worldly power can cross. They remind us that ultimate strength does not belong to us, but to Allah and those He empowers. And they show us that the only real safety is in obedience, humility, and submission to the Creator. May Allah protect us from the punishment of hell, grant us hearts that tremble at His reminders, and make us among those who see in the mention of the 19 angels not confusion or mockery, but a reason to increase in faith, gratitude, and obedience,